What's happening, everyone? It's Jason. Adventure ready, off grid. Just checking in, me and my mustache, saying hello. Heading through Payson right now, Payson, Arizona, or heading towards Payson, Arizona, and then down Beeline Highway to the Phoenix area, Mesa area, picking up a friend's RV. I got a friend of mine moving on to one of our vacant property, piece of basically the property where I have my tiny house, my second tiny house, my Graceland shed. She's going to be moving up with her RV for an extended period of time to kind of figure out her next move. Just sold her house and bought a 2005, 2006, 7 Raptor, somewhere in that ballpark, toy hauler, fifth wheel. And she wasn't super comfortable driving it up the mountain, so I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a friend who has a buddy who tows a lot, so I'm going to tow that up for her today or tonight, so she doesn't have to freak out on elk crossing and deer crossing and raccoon crossing and coyote crossing and heading up the mountain pass. So not too bad of a tow right there from Mesa up. It's a climb, but it's not too bad. Like I said, it's pretty scenic in the daytime. But yeah, so I'm just doing a little quick trip down the mountain here, and heading right back up with a fifth wheel that my friend's just recently moved into, and she sold her house. And she's like a lot of people in this world, you sell or not everyone's selling their house, but when you sell your house, what do you do next? So it got me thinking on just rattling around in my head here. I got a ton of friends with these plans, that 5 years from now, 3 years from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, 13.7 years from now, they're all going to go get this property and move out. And I get it. Everyone's at different stages of their life. I can't say I was ready. I mean, temperature-wise, I was ready, and dealing with society-wise, I'm ready, and living in a city environment, I was ready. I had my divorce too, so it kind of made it more apparent of like what was going on in life. Well, I guess what I'm getting at is everyone's got, they can make a plan, but not everyone's going to pull through. A lot of people are going to make these plans and never see them to fruition. So I would say one thing, a bit of advice, obviously get debt free. That's the only way you can really truly experience some form of freedom in this free world we live in. So that costs a shit ton of money for taxes and fees and permits and regulations and whatever, no matter what state you're in or where you think you're living, unless you're just hiking for a living and you have no car or registration or house or whatever. But I would say get debt free is the biggest thing. I mean, and that's easier said than done, obviously. If you're living in a house making a payment, that's debt. If the bank owns your house, that's debt. If you're paying rent, it's still debt. You still owe X amount of dollars by the 15th of this month or whatever. On the first, you got $1,500 to $3,500 is going right out of your pocket. So that's an expense, but that's still debt that lingers over you because you have it every month. And I get it. That's living expenses, and everyone says you have to have a place to stay. To some degree, that's true. I got friends that live in their vans full time and their RVs full time, and that can be expensive as well if you don't know what you're doing, or you get kind of upside down, or you have mechanical problems. But none of my friends spend near as much money living in a van or in an RV or off grid on a homestead property as my friends that have $1 million homes or $500,000 homes, or live in a high expensive rent district in a city life or even in the country life. But yeah, debt free is your best bet. If you do live in a home or you're making a mortgage payment, but you can sell that for a little bit of profit, and that's kind of your game plan, I would say get out of the car debt, get out of the credit card debt, the medical debt. You got student loan, don't wait for me to pay for it for you, because I sure as fucking not. Pay for it yourself. Get out of the student debt. But yeah, just don't create new debt. So it's like, everyone's grandpa would tell them back in the day, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. So I have nothing financed right now, and I haven't financed anything in a long time. I could finance something. Like I said, if it's a business investment, like I said, I'm doing a concession trader for my kids. I paid my portion in cash. My ex is she's financing a portion of it because she wanted to contribute to it, which is fine. But if I wanted to finance something for a business entity, whether it be property, equipment, vehicles, storage, whatever, that would make more sense than personal debt, being that, you're going to see profitability off that, and that's an investment at that point in time. Even if you incur some interest rates and some debt, it may be a few $1,000s in interest rates over a course of a 5-year loan on some equipment or some property, whatever, but you should be able to pay it off early, and even if you didn't, it should weigh itself out to where the profitability is much higher than the interest you're going to pay for that loan or whatever else. So there is some options to create debt that I wouldn't shy away from if it was an opportunity to increase your profitability and maybe make easier money in the future. So there's options like that, but as far as personal, get out of the debt. If you got a brand new car, I know a lot of people don't know how to work on cars, and even me these days, I don't like working on my cars. It's so much easier to bring it to the shop and just be like, oh, another $1,000, let me grab my ankles, there you go. So I do it a lot too. I don't work on my cars like I used to. Like my Jeep I'll work on, my dirt bikes I'll work on. The vans I'll do certain things on, but I'm not going to do a full tear down of the motor and rebuild or anything like that, or anything really heavy. And even oil changes, it's like, it doesn't save you any money to do your own oil changes days. $19 special or $40 special, you just drive through and they slap it out in 10 minutes and you're done. So there's some incurred costs, but getting out of debt, getting back to the vehicle thing, I have friends with $800,000 homes, like I said, that are in hock to the bank for the next 25 years, and they're in their late 40s already, 50s. So by the time they're 75, they'll have their house paid off, which is and if you do the math, it'll only cost them extra like $50,000 to $100,000 over what they thought they were paying for that house, which is absolutely crazy. And I'm not saying I'm impervious to that. I did that when I was younger, and I think in mathematical terms, and I'm an analytical type of person. So within the first year of ownership, I did the calculations of the full balance of this inexpensive fixer-upper home I had purchased and realized, holy crap, that's expensive. Once you go the distance on that loan, I didn't plan to go the distance on mine. I always pay things off early, or I sell them for profit and move on, whether it be a home or a vehicle or whatever. So I wasn't super worried. But if you do the mathematics and you build it all out, take into account the monthly payment, take into account the interest rate. Even if you were to sell it for profit, if you deducted the actual real numbers you put into it, even though cost of living is kind of a built-in, but you still got to take that against your profit. It's not a real profitable market, the real estate market. The best way to be profitable in a home is to buy a home and put a renter in there the very first day and have them pay for your home until it's clear and free, and then sell it. And that's where you profit. And then you deduct your cost of maintenance and upgrades and damages, things like that. Or if you have any renter issues where you had to pay something out because of an injury or things like that, whatever goes with the landlord spectrum. But that's truly the only way I see where real estate is profitable, is if you bought a commercial building and put a client in there immediately and didn't have much lapse time over the course of a 20-year period or something, or except if you bought a residential home and you put a renter in there, a good solid renter in there from day one that didn't skip payments and didn't have government mandates where they didn't have to pay you, bullshit like that you can't control. But that's the way I see where property really increases in value. Unless you buy raw land and do nothing with it, it goes up. There's another way as well. But you sit on that portfolio. Like all my land's gone up, so technically I can make money on all my properties, but it's not enough to sell it and live like a king anywhere, and I have no desire to sell it anyway. But getting back to the car thing, I buy used cars. I run my business off of a used truck that I paid, a third of what it cost new. Less than a third. I think my dually was about $70,000 new in 2009. It's a Laramie mega cab with all the works, $68,000. I think what they retailed at. I bought mine with 134,000 miles on it for $19,000. Cash in hand, obviously private party. I had the money to do that, so you got to have the $20,000 to do that. But I didn't go shopping without the money. I always shop whether I'm buying or not, just kind of keeping my eyes peeled. But when I had the money, the $30,000 or so laying around for a truck I knew it was going towards, then I started shopping and I found the deal. But and like I said, when you buy a used car, when I buy a used car for $20,000, I usually don't do it unless I have 25 to 28 clear and free from selling things or business or whatever. That way, when I buy a truck for $20,000 and it has $3,000 worth of problems that the guy or a gal withheld from telling me about, or I didn't foresee when I bought it, didn't notice, I can dump some money into it, unfortunately, right away if I need to. So But getting back, so I mean, a used vehicle. I mean, these brand new vehicles. So my Mega Cab right now, to buy a brand new Dodge Mega Cab, you may not be a Dodge fan, Ford, whatever. I'm just using that as an example because this is what I drive, and I really like the vehicle because I do use it to sleep in. So it has a very big advantage when I go down to Southern California to do my hauling. It's $150 to $200 a night for a decent hotel room these days, and the continental breakfast is like a squishy burrito in packaging with preservatives or some pastries or something like that. So the hotels have gone up and the amenities have not. So I stay in my truck. I mean, most people do. That's why you see a lot of these mega cabs on the road towing. Hot shots use them a lot. So anyway, so I save money on it, but a new Mega Cab, I saw a brand new one at the Dodge dealership by me. I mean, bear in mind, it had every electronic component you could ever put on a vehicle. It was $117,000. I thought it was a joke. I thought maybe it was like, maybe some special wrapper edition or something. I don't know, 40-inch rims, but it was just a fully loaded Dodge, Mega Cab, with crazy electronics. You just push a button and it thinks for you. It probably drives for you too, and maybe just space travel to Mars. I don't really know, but it was $117,000, and I see people buying that kind of stuff, and I don't know. I'm old school when it comes to, like, if my friend bought a truck for 30 grand, or if I even bought a new truck for 40 grand, let's say 10 years ago, in my head I can't fathom that there's enough technology advances, or I don't even really like the technology. I like the more plain Jane truck without all the bullshit. There's less things to go wrong in my book. I think that holds true with almost any brand. But I'm like, I can't fathom, I can't justify in my head that my vehicle that cost 40 grand worked so well. Why would this be 117 15 years later? There's not enough technology advancements, even if you like that stuff, to merit those costs. So, and inflation, you can say that whatever you want to. Right now, the truck market and car market, they're doing some pretty heavy discounts because these inflated prices haven't been going well with the general society. So if you are looking for a new car, they are doing some pretty, I saw about a $30,000 discount on a couple of dualies at the local Ford dealership about a month back, and they sold in 24 hours, 48 hours once they discounted them. But for the full pop, 80 to 100 grand, people were not buying that shit. But I guess I'm saying, if you have a dream, I hear from my friends, because I have property now and I live a different lifestyle now than I did a couple years ago, and I'm not off-grid like I want to be yet. I'm not self-sustained like I want to be yet. I'm closer to that goal than I was a couple years ago, but I've taken on some other projects. I'm a project guy, I'm a fixer, I'm a facilitator, I'm a coordinator. That's just my mentality and how my brain works. And I'm an opportunist too, and I see a value in something. If there's a discount on something or a deal, I can't pass it up, and I know I can profit off that thing. I've bought and sold my whole life. That's part of how I can exist without the traditional workplace environment, is I can always take a diamond in the rough and turn it into a diamond and profit. So, and even if I'm not profiting to some crazy scale, I can do it to the point where it can make me a sustained, normal living if I want to, just by buying and selling commodities. So I guess I'm fortunate like that, but I mean, anyone can do that if you just put your mind to it on one capacity or another. But anyway, so I guess I'm getting at, a lot of my friends have these dreams and like, they'll ask me about property and where I live or what it costs, or they'll look at where I'm living and they're like, how do you do it? I'm looking at Flagstaff, or I'm looking at Kingman, or I'm looking at Prescott or something like that. We're talking about Arizona specifically, and it's like, well, guys, you're looking in the most expensive rural areas we have up here. So if I wanted to go to Flagstaff, I mean, it's beautiful up there, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely gorgeous. Once you get into a city environment like that that's more popular, you're going to deal with more politics, you're going to deal with more regulations, you're going to deal with more community uproar of like, let's get together and clean this place up, and my area has, people have trash in their yards. They got old hot rods that they're never going to fix to, 3 generations later, that old Chevy truck's never getting restored. They got old broke down tractors. There's debris. I mean, some people don't like that. I don't mind that because it means that everything I do on my property will never stand out in a bad way. My property's well maintained, clean, organized. If there's ever a community cleanup, which there's not, our regulations are so lax that you can have a junkyard in your front yard, you can have a hotel, you can build a castle, you can build a recycling plant. It's pretty versatile. It's pretty lax. So that lax zoning, gives you some eyesores to some people, and also gives you some freedom to other people. Depends on what side of the coin you're looking at. But so I mean, if you're looking to get checked out and get some rural property, I guess let's going back to the beginning. If you're dreaming about property and you're on a 5-year plan because of your work retirement, you're waiting for it to kick in, or you got to pay off some debt, or your kids are still going to school, or whatever the may be valid, but whatever the excuse is, because that's what it is. It's an excuse, or it's it's a detriment to your plan. But whether it's a valid excuse or not, it's what you're using to gauge your timeline on. It still wouldn't hurt to go shop for land. They're not making any more of it. That's what they always tell you. There's a ton of it out there for sale still, and the prices aren't outrageous. I mean, if you the land went off the roof, I can't afford it. If you go to, once again, Arizona, for example, Prescott, Kingman, Flagstaff, Williams, Payson, you go to the most popular areas that are producing the most infrastructure, yeah, you will pay more. If you want to really live free, you don't want to live in those areas anyway. It's nothing against those areas. They're absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, and I've looked at all those areas prior to buying. Where I live is more rural and more, it's unincorporated, so you have less restrictions, and it could change. It probably won't change in my lifetime. I'm 48 years old. Maybe by the time I'm 70, 75, it would change. I don't plan to live. I'd be lucky if I hit 75. I mean, health ailments and life and shit food quality be eating, stuff like that. We're lucky if any of us live that long. I think those days are over. We're going to see the average lifespan is going to be going down the next 20 years with all the pollutants we put in our body, from our water to the air quality to organic, supposedly vegetables, and the meat quality in our markets, because we're all relying on other people to provide that stuff for us. But anyway, it wouldn't hurt to look at land. So if you're in a 5-year plan till you can retire from your job, if you're in a 4-year plan till your kids graduate from the local high school that you went to and you want them to see them through, and they're still in established public form of education, which I don't recommend on any level. But if you're doing things like that and you have this 3, 5, 4, 6, 7-year plan, go out and buy the land right now. What's it going to hurt? If it's a payment plan, I don't suggest that, but if it is, it's an investment. At least that land is more of an investment than anything you probably have in your house right now. All the junk and clutter you own, and that expensive ass brand new car, the newest phone. I'm on a phone that I bought cash. I mean, I'm on a prepaid service. I don't fall for any of these contracts. I'm not upgrading to the iPhone 74. My phone was like $150 on sale. That used to be $1,000 phone. So that's what I'm using right now. But anyway, guys, just kind of throwing it out there. It'd be great to get out of debt and focus on your dreams, but put that foot forward. Go buy some land and start exploring and start living the way you want. Take care.